Chapter 63.1 Hurry up, hurry up. Then, supervisor, your previous experience would be the 35th round, correct? Why, yeah, it was the only round where they attempted to bring in new hires. Kim Solium quickly exchanged a few hurried questions with Supervisor Park Minseong and immediately pieced together the essentials in his mind. Supervisor Park's detailed experience. Is this all? Is this what we need? I'm working on putting it together. New hires were drafted into this darkness's exploration, resulting in chaos and panic from fear. Some kept cursing, so they received penalties. A fight broke out over calming pills, and it led to penalties for both parties, including the one who drank them. 7 people received more than 2 penalties, reaching the brink of contamination. The new hire chosen as the hangman passed out from panic halfway through, but the sheer terror and confusion left no one able to help. Another new hire collapsed after being struck on the head by the body that fell from the gallows. They later resigned. After that, they never brought in new hires again. Hold on. Do the bodies remain? Kim Solium stared urgently at the supervisor. The bodies of the people who have died here as the hangman, I mean. Well, yeah, though I don't know about decay or anything like that. I don't think there was a head, but it's not like I personally attended the funeral and checked every detail. A chill ran up Kim Solium's spine. This. What is it? Supervisor Park grabbed Kim Solium's shoulders in a panic. Is there a hint? Does this help? Yes. Kim Solium nodded urgently, but cold sweat trickled down his neck. I can't guarantee it, though. It felt like madness. But, the mere possibility was such an exhilarating hope. This is worth trying. Kim Solium hastily pieced together what was needed. It seemed barely feasible. With this, we might be able to slip through the cracks without breaking the rules. The only problem was, one essential skill wasn't currently available. Brawn. Once again, he was needed. How much longer until your transformation ability is ready? Even I need about half a day of rest, don't you think? Kim Solium quickly adjusted the question. What if I change the conditions? Conditions. Kim Solium explained the altered conditions. The response changed. If that's the case, I can manage after about an hour of rest. It's a tough schedule, but I'll endure it. I'm a professional after all. Thank you so much. Don't mention it. 1 hour. The conditions were reset. I need to buy time. Within this chaos, I had to ensure that Yoon Hage didn't fully ascend the gallows for an hour. And that was impossible to do alone. Sunbi Nim. If possible, I'd like you to act as a decoy. Kim Solium quickly held the silver heart badge in his pocket. Then he shouted to the 9 employees who had gathered in the room, enthusiastically immersed in the hangman game. Everyone. 9 pairs of eyes turned toward Kim Solium. He swallowed hard. What was needed now was aggro. If you could double your clear points, would you do it? Assistant Manager Yoon Hage of D-Squad raised her head. Even though she was hanging midair, sentenced to death with black ropes wrapped around her neck and limbs, she was surprisingly calm. All things considered, this isn't a bad way to go. Aside from dying just short of reaching her point goal, it was honestly far better than the bloody messes from her coworkers' deaths in the past. Assistant Manager Yoon, what was your mode of transportation? Dunno, I told you already I don't remember. If taking these goddamn trolls with her to the grave wasn't enough to make it worse, she didn't feel all that cooperative. Still, the right answers would eventually come, regardless of her efforts. That's just how hangman works. Damn it, the last mode of transportation she used as a reporter. How the hell would I know that? Fuck it, eh? Correct. It worked. Even without figuring it out from the hint. Throwing out letters eventually leads to the correct answer. Avar. Vahi. Yoon Hage looked at her now missing feet, feeling the chilling fear of death crawl up her neck. But no, she didn't show it. She didn't want to serve as entertainment for the trolls. Here's the hint for the third blank letter. Why can't teacher Yoon Hage take airplanes anymore? Meanwhile, her two hoobies from D Squad were busily whispering in the corner. What are they doing? They clenched their teeth as if seeing Yoon Hage lose both her feet was too much, then started talking more fervently. They must have some delusional idea of saving her. That might be better. If they just keep talking and eventually realize there's no way out, they'll give up. At least they'll find some comfort in having tried. Meanwhile, someone came up with the answer to the relatively easy question. Drama T. TLR. Correct. Her entire left leg disappeared. Fuck. Woo, we got it. Ah, I should have answered first. The trolls screamed like they were at a sports event, watching someone's leg disappear. Yoon Hage's irritation and anger began to boil. Maybe I should just troll along with them. But then, suddenly, everyone. Someone raised their hand beyond the trolls. If you could double your clear points, would you do it? Ro. Yes. The rookie from D Squad, or rather, the now former rookie who'd climbed the ranks in record time, Kim Solium, raised his hand with a calm expression. What the hell? Isn't that the guy, that one who got promoted recently? Everyone recognized him by then. The top new hire, wearing a mask with antlers like a deer, who had been promoted to supervisor after just 60 days, had already become a widely talked about figure. Maybe because of the rumors, everyone was now strangely drawn to him. There was something natural about his presence. And just now, did he say points? In the strange atmosphere that had overtaken the playroom, Kim Solium spoke. How about we make a bet? If any of you win this bet, I'll give you all my clear points, Sunbi Nim. What? Insane aggro. Is that guy crazy? Why's he doing that? But for members of the field exploration team, the mention of points was irresistible. Are you really saying you'll give up all 2,000 points? Yes. Ah, Supervisor Road Deer, you must not know since you've only been here a few months points are non-transferable. I know. You do, then what? But there's no rule against using 2,000 points to buy items from the company store and giving them away, is there? If you win, you can pick whatever you like. I'll even pay for custom equipment. The atmosphere shifted. If the sacrifice had already been chosen, then how useful would additional points be? Are you serious? Yes. He was serious. Of course, if they could win, then what's the bet? In response, Kim Solium crossed his arms. Who can guess the most letters in the hangman puzzle? The person who guesses more letters than me will get the points. Is he insane? For reference, I've only guessed one, so just getting 2 would meet the threshold. W8. Supervisor Park Min-seong from D Squad stood up in alarm. Ro, why are you making a bet in this situation? There aren't many B-class ghost stories that are safe as long as you follow the manual. I thought this could be a good opportunity to see if guessing more correct answers might trigger any special phenomena. Right. Kim Solium spoke seriously, looking around at the employees. If the atmosphere gets strange, please stop. I hope it doesn't become dangerous. Some of the employees exchanged smirks and sneers, before one of them spoke up with a sarcastic grin. "Oh, tilde so noble. You're making a bet to add more detail to the manual and make it safer." "Yes, that's correct," Kim Solium replied without hesitation. "I want to help make it so that those who come in after us can clear this more safely." "Why?" "No particular reason. I just think it'd be good if someone did it, and I'm in a position to do so." Then the employee who asked fell silent. For some reason, they felt uneasy. Come to think of it, didn't this rookie rescue a missing person? Another memory surfaced. Last time, I heard he saved all the other employees from some B-class darkness and got promoted because of it. He'd retrieved an unpopular desk worker that no one else cared to find, without pay. He'd risked his life in a high-grade darkness to save employees he didn't even know. He's not normal. Normally, these people would have laughed at someone like this guy, calling him gullible. But strangely, for some peculiar reason, they couldn't. Tudding. A clear, metallic sound seemed to echo in their minds. It was as if their thoughts were sharpening, seeing things in a clearer, more objective way, detached from their usual habits and inertia. And oddly enough, those seemingly foolish choices began to look, somehow, impressive. Then, they spoke without thinking. "All right, let's do the bet." "Oh, thank you." Kim Solium bowed repeatedly, thanking the now quiet employees, and then began to walk away. "I'll see you all when the game is finished." He approached assistant manager Yoon Hage, who had been watching the whole scene with her jaw dropped. "Assistant manager." Yoon Hage felt a throbbing headache. This guy's problem is that he's too nice. Smart rookie or not, this was his flaw. He's too sincere. The type to burn out or break under the weight of his own ideals. He'd passionately declared that his items belonged to his coworkers just to try and save them before, and now he was seriously pulling a stunt like this. You're seriously." Kim Solium lowered his voice and spoke quickly. "It's a bluff." Then, "Oh, I just stirred things up to buy us time." For a moment, Yoon Hage almost forgot she was about to die, but then she managed to reply. "You're saying you're stalling for time?" "Yes, ma'am." "Huh. Wait, if you're planning to try something in that time, don't. That's how you get yourself killed." "What if I insist on doing it?" "We're going to try no matter what. If you cooperate, our chances of success will be higher." This stubborn brat. Yoon Hage gritted her teeth. "Hey, I told you I'll handle it myself." "I don't believe that. You've already given up, you're ready to die." Then, "So quick on the uptake." "He. I won't say I haven't thought about trying something." Finally, Yoon Hage confessed. Things she hadn't mentioned to avoid giving her hoobies false hope. "You know how this ghost story enforces all sorts of rules on the so-called new teachers, right? But do you know who the only exception is?" "That would be the hangman." Yoon Hage grinned. "That's me." The hangman wasn't penalized for anything. Not for cursing, not for slamming their head against a wall hard enough to break the skull. "The problem is, even so, moving my body is difficult." She gestured with her eyes toward the ropes binding her. "But if I put it the other way around, it means I can do whatever I want with my upper body." Of course, the chances of anything working were slim to none. Yoon Hage spoke casually, keeping her composure. "Did you hear that? Only I can keep trying this loophole. Even so, I don't get penalized. So you penalty targets just sit and—" Kim Solium's eyes glinted. "I'll use that loophole to maximize the survival rate." "What?" "Please remember what I'm about to say." Kim Solium explained, clearly, firmly, and concisely, what Yoon Hage needed to do. "And after That's all. Yoon Haid suddenly felt like she'd been doused in ice water. Were they seriously going to do this? We'll head off and start the work. See you in a bit. Hey, wait a second. Row Badger, you damn brats. But the two were already walking out of the playroom. Hey, come back here. Phew. It seemed the stalling tactic had worked. I was walking down the unnervingly clean, colorful, and quiet kindergarten hallway with Supervisor Park Minseong. Let's move faster. The testimonies from Supervisor Park and Assistant Manager Yoon were helping me form a clearer picture. My mind wavered between anxiety and hope. Even so, the unsettling atmosphere of this ghost story setting still made my skin crawl. But courageous as always, Supervisor Park kept glancing back at me with a worried expression before finally speaking up. "Ro, are you sure about this? Those 2,000 points aren't a joke. What if someone actually guesses 2 letters?" "I... that... that'll never happen." I grinned. With selfish personalities and everyone keeping each other in check, it's impossible. They'll sabotage each other every time someone tries to guess. According to the records, each question's time limit ranged from 7 to 10 minutes, depending on the whims of the ghost story. Even conservatively, they'd have to cycle through 9 rounds of this full-time limit. So what's the best method? They'll probably keep sabotaging and fighting until the very last moment. And since they still wouldn't want to accumulate penalties, someone would begrudgingly propose terms for their guesses. And the likelihood of that being the correct answer, very slim. In the end, they'll all have to take penalties, and the time will drag on. Additionally, once contamination starts accumulating, they'll hesitate to randomly guess letters, slowing things down further. So, it'll easily take an hour. I stated this confidently. And since the prize isn't the 2,000 points themselves, but an item you can buy with them, it's harder to split the reward. They can't easily form teams to share, and verbal agreements aren't trustworthy enough. The only reason they trusted my promise was because of the silver heart. I had to make sure it wasn't exposed. I consciously avoided even thinking about the badge in my pocket as I continued. So don't worry about that. Let's focus on saving the assistant manager first. Then, a flicker of emotion crossed Supervisor Park's face beneath his mask. Realizing there was no time to waste, he quickly suppressed it. "All right, let's get to it. Oh, we're here." Yes. It was time to begin preparations. Who? I sat down with Supervisor Park, settling on the floor. It was the largest space in the kindergarten. Playroom. I tried my best not to look too closely at the scene before me. In front of us was a colorful ball pit and a stage decorated with flowers and butterflies. But atop the cheerful stage, 2 grotesque chunks of flesh stood awkwardly. A left leg, a right foot. They were parts of Assistant Manager Yoon Hae's body. A chill ran up my spine, raising the hairs on my neck. Whether it was from fear, dread, or a sense of crisis, I couldn't tell. The gallows. There was only one chance. I had to seize it here. Assistant Manager Yoon Hae's emotions were a tangled mess. If I'm going to leave, I'd like to go in peace. Apparently, that was an impossible wish. Hey, move back. Do you think I didn't notice you already guessed one right? Move back. I haven't guessed a single one yet. Troll bastards. It was utter chaos. The scene had already been unseemly when everyone acted as if they were watching a spectator sport while fending for themselves. But now, with everyone monitoring and sabotaging each other while yelling, it had gotten worse. Survival in points. 2 objectives meant double the conflict. It was like watching a wagon wheel stuck in place, unable to move because of friction, only building up heat. Ro, that punk, he's really something else. It had been a long time since Yoon Hage had seen such excellent political maneuvering. Good thing he's a decent guy. Judging by the mess in front of her, they might actually stall for more than an hour. How long has it been? 20 minutes. TRAR. And yet, with only one letter filled in so far. Here's the hint for the sixth blank letter, whose obituary call caused teacher Yoon Hage's airplane trauma. Assistant manager Yoon, who passed away. Oh, shut up. But what was the point of stalling anyway? Isn't it the same outcome? All my secrets will get exposed and I'll die. It wasn't like Yoon Hage cared about preserving her honor anymore, but the longer it dragged on, the more bitter and tired she felt. And the more she thought about what those two hoobies were planning, the more dizzy she became. They're about to do something crazy. Yoon Hage recalled Ro's earlier whisper. During the hanging, remember this. It hadn't been a request, but a statement, one that wouldn't take no for an answer. Still, if they were really determined to go through with it, wasn't it only fair that Yoon Hage did her best to survive? Though she couldn't say whether their resolve would hold in a few minutes. Let's see how it goes. Yoon Hage crossed her arms philosophically. And so 20 minutes. 30 minutes. 40 minutes passed. Hell yeah, it's right, the B in believe. Correct. BTRAYR. The word was starting to take shape. And at this point, it's only natural that someone would catch on. Wait a sec. Who? The word's true identity. This word. Row over there. I looked up. 1 hour and 8 minutes had passed. The word was complete. BETRYER. Betrayer. The word that best represents teacher Yoon Hage is betrayer. What? 4 years ago. As a reporter, teacher Yoon Hage betrayed her longtime boss and team, trying to publish an exclusive article on her own. She failed and had her story stolen. And during this process, her false report caused severe emotional distress to her sources, leaving them in despair until some of them actually died. What's the moral of this story? The answer is, people who betray their workplace deserve punishment. Hangman is an excellent educational game used here at Black Square Kindergarten to teach the moral of justice and retribution to our students. This is the one time I really regret not being able to curse. Row. Supervisor Park grabbed my shoulder. Listening to this, it makes your Sunby sound like such a terrible person, but you wouldn't know for sure unless you heard it directly from them. That's just how this kind of darkness works. It isolates the victim, inflicts psychological torment, and uses penalties to scare the remaining members of the field exploration team into compliance. I think it's not too late to talk about it after we all make it out alive. Supervisor Park's face lit up. Exactly, you're right, Ro, that's why Thunk, 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 thunk. I turned my head. Yoon Hage watched with a conflicted heart. They're coming. Through the open door of the playroom, figures stepped in unison, moving slowly and fluidly. There were no melting black substances, no screams. Just pristine pastel outfits, smiling faces, aprons, and name tags. The brand marks on their foreheads. Sunny class black black black. Chick class black black black. Dream sprout class black black black. Those people are the ones who were fully contaminated and trapped here. No, the monsters that used to be people don't make eye contact. If you get scared, you might be affected. I turned my eyes away as much as I could from those figures. Game over. Now let's hang the hangman one last time. It's time. I recalled the conversation we had during preparations. Supervisor, if it feels like too much of a burden, you're telling me to push it onto you. What? Oh, come on, that's not happening. This is my custom equipment. You couldn't use it even if you tried. I wasn't saying I'd do it, but thanks. And now, the supervisor was holding his custom equipment. A camouflage cloth. Wasn't it called the mimic scarf? It looked no different from the one he had used to help me during the exhibition, but there was one key difference. It's actually sopping wet now, huh? It was soaked. We had dumped all the remaining contents of the drink enhancer onto it. The same enhancer that doubled the effect of the smiley sticker during the Tuesday quiz show. I drenched that scarf completely without holding back. To avoid dirtying the floor with foreign substances, which would incur a penalty, we'd spread my suit jacket beneath it, essentially sacrificing it. And if the enhancer worked, the camouflage gear should have tremendous power, even if just once. At least until the moisture dried. Since we were racing against time, it was perfect for the job. All right, I'll use it now. Yes. I nodded. The supervisor glanced at the kindergarten teachers climbing onto the stage, then silently pulled the scarf over his face. And he became one of them perfectly. Sprout class black black black. Ah, excellent, a convincing disguise. It won't hold for long, though. It only needs to last for a moment. About 3 minutes. And I had to act, too. I waited until Supervisor Park had blended in with the teachers and then started moving, slightly delayed to stagger the timing. Now, I had to get as close to the stage as possible for Braun to use his ability. And if I could draw some attention away, it would make it easier for Supervisor Park Minseong to maneuver unnoticed among the monsters. Let's begin. But as I raised my head, I froze. Oh, I had forgotten something critical. That I was a coward. Teacher Kim Solium, listen to me. I finished reading the handbook. 1. Black square kindergarten is eternal. 2. I follow the rules. Everything is perfect. I am a perfect teacher. Everyone is safe, happy, and there are no accidents, no one jumps. Our black square kindergarten is a perfect and safe haven where everyone follows the rules and educates endlessly. Once you finish reading the handbook, Teacher Kim Solium, you'll be like me. Now just read the handbook quickly. On the platform, countless black square kindergarten teachers stood, smiling. They were not human. They had never been human. Just looking at them sent an instinctive warning down my spine that I would X if I were to approach, that I would be grabbed by the back of my neck, that I'd be left with nothing else to do but scream. I knew it already. The more I was afraid, the worse the mental contamination would get. I just had to endure. And I knew I had to stand close to them, attracting their attention. Compared to Supervisor Park Minseong, who had to fully blend into their midst, what I had to do wasn't even that difficult. But did I hold back a scream? What on earth is this? They said feeling fear leads to contamination, right? Is my fear drawing the contamination toward me? I'm supposed to draw their attention. I'm supposed to draw their attention. Drip. Cold sweat dripped from my chin. I barely managed to move my left foot forward, taking a single step. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Their gazes locked onto me. N-E-W-T-E-C-H-E-R. Sticker. The tattoo sticker. I need to use it. I need to use it now. There's no way I can endure. No, hold on. I can't use them now. This is panic talking. What I need isn't courage. It's rationality. No, maybe I should. Mr. Roe Deer. Mr. Roe Deer, I'm curious. What's your favorite fruit? Mr. Roe Deer, a humble admirer named Braun is eagerly awaiting your answer. A question. Your favorite fruit, please. Grapes. Ah, excellent choice. A symbol of abundance and nourishment. In ancient Egypt, they were revered as sacred fruit, and in Greece, they were celebrated as a cultural beverage. Shall we delve deeper? Let's move forward. I slowly took another step. New teacher Yoon Hage will dangle by her neck and die. That's what the hangman game is about. Staring at the ground, I moved forward. How about wine? It's a beverage that has evolved alongside human civilization, shaped by the grape variety, harvest timing, and aging methods. Over millennia, it has been refined, driven by the desires and determination of producers and consumers to perfect its methods and results. One step, another step. Then, soon the edge of the stage came into view. I had reached just below the platform. Mr. Roe dear, your steps are no different. I lifted my head. In this show, boldness is essential. Without it, you vanish. And Mr. Roe dear, you've proven to be a participant who won't vanish. Ah, it's all coming back to me now. Yes, you were the MVP. This time too, let's follow your desires and determination. Braun spoke cheerfully. Now, let's play our assigned roles brilliantly, shall we? Right. Thank you. Encouraging my crew is my specialty. I was genuinely grateful. I took a deep breath. Though the smiling teacher's gazes landed on me again, it felt more bearable. The whispers and phrases didn't burrow into my brain enough to overwhelm me with fear or contamination. Don't let fear consume me. I can do this. I steadied myself and stood, looking up at the teachers crowded on the platform. New teacher Yoon Hage, please step onto the platform tilde. The execution had begun. The kindergarten teachers stood in abundance atop the colorful, cheerful stage. It looked as though an event was about to take place, but what they surrounded was an executioner's block. A black execution scaffold. At the scaffold, a black line extended straight ahead. At the end of the line were assembled body parts. Both legs, both arms, thighs, waist, chest, neck, and finally a head. The moment the head appeared on the stage, the parts merged, and assistant manager Yoon Hage exhaled deeply. Then, looking at the teachers surrounding her, she clenched her teeth. Goodbye. The teachers clapped gently with smiling faces. Likely holding back a stream of expletives, Yoon Hage's face was pale as she moved her feet. Not by her own will. The black holographic ropes forced her limbs to move, guiding her toward the scaffold amidst the crowd of teachers. And then, this is the moment. Did you know? Of course, any contact with the teacher chosen, as the hangman was strictly forbidden. Any attempt to rescue them, even a last handshake or an item exchange, was prohibited. Even if someone tried to risk a penalty, their actions would be blocked just before the attempt. So, the only opportunity to act was during one specific moment. The hangman is ascending the scaffold. This is what happens when you guess correctly. When Yoon Hage appeared on the stage and began ascending the scaffold, at the exact moment she passed directly beside the teachers. Tug. One teacher gave her something. Then, Supervisor Park Min-seong, perfectly disguised as a kindergarten teacher, handed something to assistant manager Yoon Hage. Since Yoon Hage's arms and legs were bound by ropes, she couldn't use them. Only small, movable parts of her body were functional. For example, her mouth. The something, handed over in passing, disappeared into Yoon Hage's mouth in an instant. As if nothing had happened. Yoon Hage continued walking, expressionless, and finally stepped onto the gallows. This is where the second critical moment came. Now, let's begin the execution. Braun. Now. Understood. Let's see your mask in a whole new light, reframing the familiar. I frantically looked up at Yoon Hage. No chain. Thunk. The black holographic rope around her neck gained physical form and texture. Hangman tilde. And then it pulled upward. Damn it. I wanted to avert my gaze so badly, but I forced myself to watch, pretending to be unaffected. The rope pulled with a disturbingly immense force, and then, ting! Thud, 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 thud. The headless body tumbled down from the stage. Thump! The lifeless body part fell right in front of me, and I caught it. It was limp, devoid of any signs of life. Then it gradually faded until it completely vanished. The game has ended. New teachers, please wait for your evaluation. It's finally over. So you won the bet, Supervisor Roe dear. Man, how'd you stop anyone from guessing twice? The other staff, who had been waiting at the back, per the kindergarten's instruction to watch the hangman's final moments in the playroom, approached with relieved sighs and complaints. Is this your first time seeing a team member die? Honestly, Yoon Hage wasn't the kind of person who'd live long anyway. One of them gave my shoulder a light pat. Well, don't take it too hard, okay? She's dead now. I smiled. What? Why are you smiling? She's not dead. What? Huh? They stared at me like I'd lost my mind. But then, what is this? Screams erupted from those who looked up at the stage. Not because they saw Yoon Hage's severed head. Rather, this. One of them pointed at the stage with a trembling voice. Why is it a hand? Exactly. But it was definitely a head. I looked at Yoon Hage's severed left hand lying on the stage and chuckled. I never thought I'd laugh at the sight of a severed body part, but I couldn't help it. It worked. What a remarkable piece of craftsmanship. And what an amusing idea, switching the head and hand. Exactly. The plan was to switch Yoon Hage's head and hand, while concealing it from everyone's eyes. So during the execution, instead of her head, one of her hands would be severed. Using hands or feet to substitute for other body parts is a classic stage trick. Braun, muttering about doing this only for a friend, was unexpectedly brilliant in this moment. But this isn't over yet. For the hangman to escape, they have to die and leave as a corpse. If Yoon Hage had somehow survived the execution, the system would have noticed and enforced another way to follow the rules. So, all I have to do is place this plum-sized apple in her mouth, right? Supervisor Park Min-seong had been essential to the plan. While disguised as a teacher, in that fleeting moment that assistant manager Yoon Hage passed by, what he had slipped into her mouth was none other than a Snow-White Mountain mini apple. It was an item I carried, designed to induce death-like sleep. It was a stroke of luck that the wrist storage upgrade let me carry a whole apple instead of just juice. That's why I was able to give these instructions. Assistant manager, when the apple enters your mouth as you ascend the scaffold, swallow the final piece just before your wrist is severed. What? It will happen in that moment, that's all. Yoon Hage followed the instructions to the letter. At the exact moment when her wrist, mistaken for her neck by everyone, was severed, Yoon Hage swallowed the last piece of the apple. This put her in a state identical to death. Her body, now indistinguishable from a corpse, was recognized as having been executed as the hangman and successfully ejected from the ghost story. Exactly. Outside that outcome, no other possibility could have worked in this situation. Success. I pressed my hands against my face. Even so, I wanted to leave and confirm his survival as soon as possible. What if someone mistook the body for a corpse and transported it away? It felt too early to feel catharsis or relief. I just wanted to get out of here quickly. The evaluation is ready. Thankfully, the TV displayed the final signal. Soon, it would announce which participants contributed to completing the hangman word, and which didn't, assigning penalties or granting a pass accordingly. From the looks of it, no one seemed contaminated enough to fail escaping. Row. As the teachers on the platform disappeared, Supervisor Park Min-seong finally jumped down from the stage. We did it right. Yes. Waja. The supervisor collapsed onto the ground in relief and joy. It was worth squeezing into that gap. Even though his face was pale, Park Min-seong grinned earnestly as he finally removed the camouflage equipment. Supervisor, you didn't guess a letter, so you'll probably get another penalty. I can handle up to the second one. As we had discussed earlier, the supervisor nodded, accepting the consequence. Honestly, it doesn't feel great, but, well, taking one penalty for missing a correct answer is way better than letting the assistant manager die. I'll stop at the second. There's no way I'll get a third, so I'll be fine. Goodness ding, wrong. Wait, what? New teachers must remain at the bottom of the platform. Stepping onto the stage is prohibited. As a penalty, you must read the handbook aloud for 10 minutes. Park Min-seong looked back up at the spot he had just stepped down from. The platform. I'm caught. And then he was dragged away. A black holographic book descended over Supervisor Park Min-seong's head. The hologram clung to him like tar, seeping over his body as he clawed at the ground, struggling in vain. Behind his writhing figure, the TV's cheerful voice resumed. Now, let's reveal the new teachers who failed to actively participate in the hangman game. Similar scenes began to unfold across the room. The real issue was, new teacher Park Min-seong, you didn't guess a single letter correctly. One penalty had already been accumulated. Stepping onto the stage added another. And now, not guessing a letter resulted in a third. Thus, 3 penalties accumulated. The TV declared its verdict. New teacher Park Min-seong is designated as a permanent trainee. You will remain here forever, receiving training and preparing to become a perfect black square kindergarten teacher. The black holographic books covering the faces of those who failed to guess letters remained, but only Park Min-seong's turned a fiery red and spread across his entire body. Black square. His scream warped into something unnatural. In black square, plea black 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 black. His body twisted and thrashed on the floor in grotesque contortions. Incomprehensible excerpts from the handbook were read aloud, overlapping with his sobs and screams. Yet no one around paid attention. A few glanced over, only to quickly step away as if avoiding any connection, waiting for the next stage outlined in the manual. Finally, thank you for your efforts in today's dry run. Goodbye, new teachers. Clearance confirmed. Finally, it's over. Move it. As soon as the game ended, everyone realized they were free to curse and run, and a flood of participants surged out of the playroom. Even those who had just finished their 10-minute penalty, coughing up the tar-like hologram and clutching their heads in pain, staggered upright and limped or ran out, bumping into me along the way. What the? The door only stays open for 30 minutes. If you don't get out now, you'll be treated as a permanent trainee too. Damn it. They brushed past me and kept running. And so I was left alone. Alone, except for the contaminated Park Min-seong writhing on the floor. Oh dear, my friend is being mistaken as a volunteer in such an outdated place. Let's leave immediately, Mr. Roe dear. No. Mr. Roe dear. The game was over. That meant The rules of this ghost story had also ended. In the worst case, I can run out on my own in 10 minutes and make it through the door. But I have to at least try to take the supervisor with me. I could endure this. I had to try as much as I could. After all, I'd succeeded before. I don't want to give up so easily. I didn't want this story to end with saving the hangman by exploiting a sliver of a loophole, only to have the one who tried to save them disappear into the legend. I don't want some casual note on a wiki saying, an incident where the rescuer of the hangman was lost. I can do this. I raised my head and reached for the tattoo on my wrist. Chinese letter, Chinese letter. From the heated tattoo, the items I had stored began to appear. The candle-making kit, apple juice, the blood-sucking knife, stickers, and dozens of 501 coins bundled together. Oh, what fascinating tools will you use this time, friend? I'm not using anything. Then what is this? I stuffed all the items into my briefcase. Given that I hadn't brought the blood bathtub with me, I was left with just enough room to fit everything snugly. The blood-sucking knife, which looked like it could burst out of the bag due to its size, was carefully set aside into my back pocket. Done. The fully packed briefcase was heavy, but not so much that I couldn't carry it while running. And now there was one thing left to do. The now empty subspace in my wrist. Ah, you were clearing it for a purpose. Exactly. I briefly reached into the tattoo's connected subspace and pulled my hand back out. This subspace, it's a cube with a volume equivalent from 60 cm per side, right? Precisely. It's irregular, isn't it? That's also. Braun's voice carried a mix of amusement and interest. Correct. Good. It's all or nothing. I'd heard it before. The idea that being contaminated and trapped in this ghost story forever, unable to die, was far worse than death. Let's do this. I gritted my teeth and waited. Waited for Supervisor Park Min-seong's third penalty to finish. Trying to do anything now would be foolish. Trying to communicate with someone in the middle of their penalty would result in the holographic handbook, graciously, attaching itself to me as well. And then I'd spend 10 minutes reading the handbook, effectively out of commission. That would be the end. I forced myself to suppress my anxiety and waited calmly. Time remaining for the penalty, 7 minutes. 6 minutes. 5 minutes. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. 1 minute. 0. The tar-like red substance surrounding Supervisor Park Min-seong disappeared. Slowly he stood up. His appearance had transformed completely into that of a kindergarten teacher. The black suit he had worn was replaced with soft beige pants, a white shirt, and a light green apron. In one hand, he held a brown folder with a red title. Black Kindergarten Handbook. His mask had completely melted away, revealing his face. And on his forehead, clear and vivid, was the brand of his assigned class. Sprout class. A gentle smile spread across Supervisor Park Min-seong's fully exposed face. Teacher Solium. Shit. Did you wait for me to finish reading the handbook? Thank you so much. Of course I had to wait. Don't let it show. Don't panic. Showing anything now would be disastrous. How are you feeling? Great, never better. Supervisor Park smiled softly, nodding. That's good to hear. Shall we head out now? Head out? Oh, you mean leaving? Yes, let's go together. Oh, I don't have a quitting time. I'm not just a new teacher anymore. I finished reading the handbook. But you can still leave. That's not possible, though. It's time for me to head to the Sprout class and help prepare for opening. Then, with a bright expression, Supervisor Park exclaimed, Oh, right, Teacher Solium want to come with me. A chill ran down my spine. Teacher Solium, you don't know which class you'll be assigned to yet, do you? You haven't read the handbook yet. If you read it, you'll find out your assigned class. Supervisor Park extended his hand to me. What do you think? It'd be great if we were in the Sprout class together. We used to be on the same squad after all. Shit. I naturally stepped back, making sure that I looked like I was considering his suggestion. His outstretched hand swiped through empty air. Oh, thank you for the offer, but I need to drop this outside the exit first. I lifted the briefcase. I borrowed some things, and I think I need to return them within the time limit. Teacher Solium, all those interesting items you carry around were borrowed. Yes. Please don't notice. Please trigger warning self-harm. The thing that had once been Supervisor Park, still speaking kindly and gently as if it were second nature, replied. Then should I ask the other teachers to help move it? It's just one briefcase. If you wouldn't mind, could you accompany me to the entrance for a moment? Supervisor Badger specifically requested it. Supervisor Park froze. Perhaps. Supervisor Badger. His mouth opened. That. But then, in the next moment. Sure, let's go to the entrance together. The kind, cheerful teacher's voice returned. Teacher Solium. Yes, I'd appreciate it if you could accompany me to the entrance, quietly, so we don't disturb anyone. Sounds good. I turned and began walking out of the playroom. Right behind me followed the fully contaminated Supervisor Park, now a teacher. Slowly I moved forward. Step. Right behind me, I could hear the sound of soft slippers, not the hard click of dress shoes, quietly trailing me. Step. Oh, let me help you carry the briefcase. It's all. Before I could finish saying it was fine, the teacher's hand grabbed half of the briefcase I was holding. The perfect teacher's handbook in his hand brushed against mine. Step. I'm fine. The sharp, piercing sound that messes with my mind isn't there. Neither is the overwhelming terror or fear that makes me want to lose my mind. I can do this. The entrance isn't far now. All I have to do is walk. But at the same time, a thought crosses my mind. Is sneaking out to the entrance like this the right thing to do? Motherfucker. Look at me cursing. Maybe it's because I've never read the handbook, but somehow it feels a little embarrassing. Maybe reading the handbook isn't a punishment at all. Perhaps it's an opportunity disguised as a penalty, a chance to learn. Crazy. Wait, let's not just dismiss this as contamination. Let's consider it seriously. This is a great workplace. Preparing for a perfect opening with polite and compliant colleagues is the ultimate joy. I have the potential to become a perfect teacher. Black Square Kindergarten has shown me that. No, absolutely not. I scoffed at myself. Don't I know that even getting caught in a lie results in punishment? I should just give up on the entrance efficiently. That's the logical thing to do. I should voluntarily start reading the handbook here. I could even ask Teacher Park Minseong to join me. No. If I just borrow the handy. No. Stop entertaining other thoughts. But if I think about it a little more, I'll start to believe this isn't such a bad idea. It is not. Focus on moving forward. One step at a time, the entrance grows closer. Step. I've made it. The entrance. Instead of the dirty, cluttered entrance I first walked through, it now looks pristine, clean enough to make me hesitate about leaving. So we just have to throw this bag right. I grabbed the briefcase, and in the motion, the handbook that had been brushing against my hand slipped and fell. Shall we throw it together? Please. Yes, that sounds good. It has to work. Hold on to this part for me. Finally, I turned my head. Standing in my view was Supervisor Park Min-seong, smiling with the face of a teacher. He reached out his upper body and hands, just as I had instructed, ready to grab the briefcase. Now, I grabbed Supervisor Park's head without hesitation. And I shoved it roughly into my forearm. It's working. The subspace connected to my tattoo on my wrist has the volume of a 60 cm cube per side. But it isn't a literal cube. It's a malleable, irregular subspace. So, when converted into other measurements, it can easily fit the body of an adult man. I fixed my gaze upward. Crack, crack. The humanoid body resisted as I pushed it into the tattoo, its joints feeling like they were breaking apart. I made sure to start with the head on purpose. Talking to him would have definitely affected me, making the contamination worse. I kept pressing down with one hand. The subspace within the tattoo swallowed it without resistance. The handbook touched it. No, I'll keep that separate. There's no way I'll let it go in. Finally, I crammed in the last of his legs. Snap. Something suddenly grabbed my left forearm. Fingers gripping tightly with unnatural strength, pale as death. It was Supervisor Park's right hand. Damn it. I tried to pry off his fingers one by one, but it wasn't working. I can't injure a teacher. I had no idea how this darkness would react if I did. Stay calm. I took out the blood-sucking knife and drove it into my own arm. The fingers tore away, taking chunks of flesh from my forearm. It was pain that should have made me scream like crazy, but adrenaline and sheer tension kept me silent. As I shoved the last of his fingers into the tattoo, I hurried toward the entrance. Step. The final step. Then I lifted my head. The bright blue sky of daylight greeted me. Behind me, only the decrepit, abandoned building of a private kindergarten remained. The sunlight glimmered over the wild grass in the outskirts of Seoul. Then, clear. I lowered my head. There lay Assistant Manager Yoon Hae's body, missing a hand, collapsed on the ground. None of the other company staff were around. They must have already left. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my smartphone. Following protocol, I pressed a button. As if to confirm I was back in reality, the signal connected and someone answered the call. This is the security team storage, correct? With my dry mouth, I barely managed to speak the rehearsed line. I need equipment to contain contamination. Because I've rescued a contaminated employee. Done. And then I passed out. Excuse me. Then, excuse me. I snapped my eyes open. A familiar face came into view. Sergeant. Yes. Dressed in a security uniform, with a slender build, light-colored hair, and a name tag reading J3. The very same security officer who had been involved with me in the Changwi darkness. I tried to get up in a hurry, but a massive headache struck me. Wait, what? Jingle. I froze. The red yarn tied tightly around my hands, dangling little silver bells, caught my eye. Yarn. The look and purpose felt oddly familiar. Oh. This is one of the security team's equipment. Dark Exploration Records / Supernatural Disaster Management Bureau / items. Nostalgia Kitty. A red yarn with silver bells attached, classified as an equipment-type item. Temporarily reverts the subject to their physically and mentally healthiest state within the past 10 years. The more severe the subject's mutation, the faster the yarn breaks. Health criteria determined based on usage records. a device that allowed anyone to temporarily return to a better state from their past. Knowing this calmed me down a little. I relaxed and, then, no, wait. Why am I restrained? I quickly raised my head. The sergeant, looking mildly annoyed but also slightly amused, met my gaze. He gave a small wave. We meet again. Yes, but... I raised my bound arms as high as I could. What is this about? You said you rescued a contaminated employee. Yes, but why am I? The sergeant pointed at me. Are you saying the security team thinks I'm the one contaminated? Looks like it, yeah, there's no one else. He raised his hand slightly, his expression an odd mix of anticipation and embarrassment. Welcome to the security team. And no, is this some kind of initiation for me as a new recruit? It's not me. It's not me. I emphasized this twice, then finally managed to steady myself and take in my surroundings. Is this an isolation room? The interior was an empty space surrounded by gray walls, with even the lighting recessed seamlessly into the ceiling. It seems like the security team responded properly. I must have made the call correctly. Security team equipment rental facility. This was a facility I'd been authorized to use after my promotion to supervisor, a storage space where equipment from the security team could be borrowed via phone or in person. However, if the security team deemed a situation required containment, they could intervene directly, as they had here. Lucky me. Seeing as I was now detained in a security team facility, that must have been the case. I slowly nodded. This must be the company building, given that you're here, Sergeant. Yes, sharp observation. Then I swallowed nervously. If I wasn't mistaken, my tattoo still held the contaminated Supervisor Park Mincion. I need to hand him over so the contamination can be contained. But wouldn't officially registering the existence of my tattoo with the security team be an incredibly stupid move long-term? Testing the waters, I cautiously asked, is there a CCTV system installed here by any chance? I don't think so. Right. It was likely that no recording devices had been set up, considering this was the first time someone contaminated by the ghost story had escaped into reality. Even CCTV footage could become contaminated, especially since Hungry Hangman was in Ghost Story, with exceptionally strong psychological contamination. In any case, it seemed no one knew that the fully contaminated Supervisor Park Mincion was currently inside my tattooed wrist. I swallowed nervously. Sergeant, just call me Jay. I'm the only Jay left in the security team. All right, JSSI. I spoke with a serious expression. Can you promise to keep what happens next a secret? Naturally, I expected him to refuse. Or perhaps he'd act conflicted, agree to keep it a secret, and then promptly report everything. Either way, I was prepared to offer some form of persuasion. Sure, why not? Then, as long as it's not about blowing up the company. No, even that might be okay. Just keep it a secret that I even heard anything. Then, was this the confidence of someone in a lifelong position? What kind of company is this? I shook off the dizziness creeping into my head and firmly stated, it's not about blowing up the company. Then, actually, I've rescued a contaminated employee, and I'm currently containing them on my own. Then, they... The sergeant looked at me like I was speaking nonsense. Are you delusional? I'm perfectly sane. I'm even wearing contamination suppression equipment, am I not? I raised my arm. These yarns with bells, this is contamination suppression equipment, isn't it? Yes, it is. Then you can see that I'm speaking with a clear mind. The sergeant stared at me. I swallowed again. When you're ready, I'll bring out the contaminated employee. Oh. He blinked, clearly unconvinced but willing to humor me, and slowly replied. Fine, go ahead. Do you need any special preparations? I only have one chance as I'm using a disposable item. Well, he tapped his chest lightly. I'm enough. Though his words might have sounded arrogant, his tone was straightforward and wearied, giving no impression of boasting. And he's a sergeant. I'd seen his capabilities in the Changui ghost story. He was a professional in darkness suppression. Good. All right. I took a deep breath. Then I reached directly into my tattoo. I didn't have to search. My hand immediately grasped the target. Keeping fellow teachers locked away is against the rules. Pull. As my hand emerged from the tattoo, it dragged something along with it. Rip. With grotesque sounds, the teacher began to emerge from the tattoo. And then, thunk, the yarn snapped from the strain. Blood spurted from my forearm like a fountain. The wound inflicted by the blood-sucking knife earlier had reopened. Fuck. I wanted to scream from the pain, but I held back. The contamination was creeping back as well. But more pressing than that was Teacher Solium. Such mischievous behavior is a punishable offense at Black Square Kindergarten. Flinch. Supervisor Park Minseong, or rather, the teacher paused mid-sentence, smiling softly. Then he stopped entirely, glancing around blankly at his surroundings. This is not the kindergarten. Damn it. This is not the kindergarten. This is not the kindergarten. I left without permission, unauthorized. I am not a perfect teacher. I broke the rules. There was no way to respond. I could only feel the guilt crashing over me. I'm so sorry, teacher. I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done this. I'll take your punishment and read the handbook aloud instead. I'll grab the handbook of Black Square Kindergarten and... Up you go. Grab. Someone seized my face. Then something was inserted into my ear. Some kind of sleep sedative. Flash. I blinked. Excuse me. Excuse me. I opened my eyes again. Everything was still. Are you all right? I'm fine. I instinctively knew. You knocked me out, didn't you? Yes. I looked at the empty capsule shell that had fallen to the floor from my ear. A drug. It seemed I'd been given something that briefly knocked me out. Something similar to the Snow-White Mountain apple I carried, but perhaps a less potent version. Stay calm. It appeared I'd been freed from the contamination's effects. I steadied my breathing and looked down at my arm. The area where I'd been injured was now wrapped in bandages. As for the yarn that had been wrapped around me earlier, I lifted my head and saw it tightly wound around Supervisor Park Minseong's limbs in the corner. Right, he no longer looked like a teacher. It was Supervisor Park Minseong again. It worked. Dressed in a black suit and mask, Park Minseong looked just as he had before entering the ghost story. Even if this was only a temporary effect of the suppression equipment. Feeling utterly drained, I leaned against the wall. Successful handover. I heard the sergeant mutter beside me. That guy's lucky, getting out that quickly, envy him. Wait. Since he came out quickly, does that mean he can fully recover from the contamination? The sergeant, looking too tired to think, hesitated before finally speaking under the weight of my persistent gaze. That's a gloom-level contamination. Yes, it's B-class. Then it's fine. B-grade. The company's got protocols, and well, if things go decently, maybe a department transfer. Sure, working in the security team would be better than dying. I hope he recovers well enough to either return or leave on his own terms. I turned back to look at Supervisor Park Min-seong. Now that the tension was easing, I felt strange. Until just yesterday, we'd been coworkers, chatting and joking in the office. Now, starting tomorrow, he'd suddenly disappear from my daily life. Please take good care of him. The sergeant nodded slightly, his expression unreadable. As my thoughts wandered, my mind finally returned to the last scene I had witnessed. Assistant Manager Yoon Hae. What happened to the body lying next to me, the one missing a left hand? I don't know. Please tell me she wasn't incinerated or something. No, that couldn't have happened. Since she was a missing hand and not a head, they would have thought it strange. Still, my growing anxiety prompted me to hasten the process and leave the isolation room. Let's head out together. Ah, yes. With a few members of the security team accompanying me, I found myself walking out of the isolation room, escorted somewhere between surveillance and protection. And as soon as I stepped outside, I realized something. This was the isolation area, adjacent to the security team's equipment storage facility. Isolation B. There were separate pages about this place in the Darkness Exploration records. Every single one of them was chilling. Two summoned employees walked just half a step behind me, moving at a calm pace through the corridor. Meanwhile, I followed, trying to suppress the unease creeping over me. Kek. Ah, almighty, luminous Wonshin Yorlate upon me. Save me, please save him. From the isolation rooms lined along both sides came bone-chilling sounds. Don't look. I resolutely avoided glancing anywhere, but the light spilling from the door ahead. Who's in the hallway? Alia. Who's in the hallway? Who's in the hallway? Who's? Please just walk faster, hurry up. Yet the blasted security team staff maintained their steady pace until we finally emerged through the door. By that point, I was utterly drained, left to complete the exit procedure for the equipment storage facility as a ragged husk of myself. The front of the storage facility looked like a bleak corridor in the maintenance department. At the counter, a silent security team employee retrieved my belongings, which had been stored for isolation. Thank you. I accepted the briefcase. A sticker labeled approved/risk level D was affixed to its surface. Looks like they didn't inspect the items individually. Nor had they conducted any additional checks on what I'd retrieved from my tattoo. Surprisingly, Sergeant J seemed to have kept his promise entirely, though he might report it someday. That much was manageable. I'd even mentioned the one-time use nature of the items on purpose. What mattered now was handling the situation properly. Let's do this right. I took a deep breath. Time to quickly check on Assistant Manager Yoon Hae's situation. A friend. Braun. Excuse me, is this all of my belongings? The staff member silently pointed toward a container in the corner of the front desk. Waste disposal box. There lay my soaked and mangled suit jacket, crumpled into a mess, and stuffed inside it, a small, disheveled stuffed doll. Gasp. How dare they throw me into such a place as if I were trash? This is outrageous. Even when I was a rookie, I never experienced such disrespect. These people are insane. I felt like I could bathe in my own cold sweat. Hastily, I retrieved the jacket, cleaned up the doll, and tucked it into my shirt pocket. Why you've been through so much, I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Mr. Roe dear. It's those ruffians who acted so recklessly. Braun seemed somewhat mollified. Without wasting time, I turned and began walking away. But from behind, an ominous voice trailed after me. but a good friend never forgets. Then, let's make sure to never let Braun near the security team again. As I stepped out the door, a voice called out to me. Kim Solium SSI. The waiting at the front of the security team facility was someone familiar. Squad leader. Chief Lizard gazed at me with his slit pupils. Did you come to fetch me, sir? Yes. Where are you taking me? And while you're at it, could you explain why I'm being taken there? To the infirmary. Assistant Manager Yoon Hage is lying there. I paused several times before I managed to speak. Is she alive? Squad leader Lee turned to look at me, and his response was firm and clear. Yes. Then, gulp. A surge of emotion suddenly rose to my throat. Squad leader, Supervisor Park Min-seong has also been retrieved. Yes. Squad leader Lee Jae-hyun seemed to ponder for a moment, but he soon asked, is he alive? Yes. Then everyone has survived. Yes. That alone made it all worth it. Undeniably, after that, everything was processed fairly quickly. It seemed I had gained some remarkable recognition at the company again. Apparently, rescuing a contaminated colleague by yourself wasn't entirely unheard of, but most cases involved months or even years of preparation and a desperate determination to pull it off. There were countless cases where the people supposedly on a rescue mission would disappear together with those contaminated people while attempting it. But to pull someone out immediately after contamination, it was apparently unprecedented for a new hire. Look, that guy with the deer antler mask. Oh, is that him? Wow, how many times is this now? Sometimes, as I walked through the company corridors, I overheard whispers behind me. Come to think of it, I remembered experiencing something similar while eating with D-Squad at the cafeteria a few times before. But maybe because I was walking alone now, the comments felt especially clear. Though it didn't last long. Kim Solium SSI. Yes, sir. Don't come to work for the next 10 days. It's paid leave. With half the team gone, D-Squad operations had already been temporarily suspended, and now I was being granted leave. I was still coming in regularly to write the situation report, though. I'd been curious about how we'd managed to twist the rules of a B-class darkness, where the hangman had to die to clear it, and bring Assistant Manager Yoon Hage out alive. Someone must have reported that Supervisor Park Min-seong and I tried to do something. It even seemed there had been discussions about scheduling interviews with the research team to strengthen the reliability of the exploration records. Ah, Supervisor Kim, why bother with that? Take a break, take a break. You've done something huge. Thank you. It appeared Section Chief Lee Byung-jin, who's in charge of manual revisions, and Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun from our squad had cut off the talks at their level. It was a bit funny, but during the reports from the employees who had been with us, they had apparently testified. Kim Solium SSI must have acted to save his squad mates without any ulterior motive. They essentially made excuses on my behalf, claiming it was all a fortunate combination of quick thinking and good luck. They all bolted the moment the clear door opened, yet they still spoke up for me. The former was only natural, but the latter was something I was grateful for, so I decided to accept it. Thanks to all this, my name kept circulating on internal calls, and the manual now had a possibly subject to revision label attached to it. In the group chat with my fellow new hires, people kept trying to dig for information from me. Go Yeonjun, you've been through a lot. Great job. Some even sent texts to comfort me. Thanks truly. For the record, Baek Sahyun hadn't even asked how I was doing, even when I live with the guy. That punk's personality has always been like that anyway. I didn't expect anything different. Overall, the situation so far hadn't been bad for my survival. Actually, isn't this good? I was steadily building an impressive career. Specifically, I was establishing a reputation as a standout employee known for quick clears using unconventional methods outside the existing manual, and for benevolence. And now a 10-day paid leave. I thought I'd either be pleased about distancing myself from ghost stories for 10 days or feel disappointed about slowing down the pace of accumulating points. I expected it to be one or the other, but I felt neither particularly. So I ended up doing nothing at all. Mr. Roe Dear, would you like to hear my thoughts on why that abysmal comedy show failed to captivate the public? It'll be fascinating. Why not? I spent a few days just sitting in the living room, watching TV. Then, about 3 days in, a text arrived. Yoon Hage, come to the hospital. The Roe, you're here. Assistant manager. I placed the get-well gift I'd brought on the side table and stood next to the bed. Assistant manager Yoon Hae let out a faint chuckle. Soy milk, nice choice. Thank you. It was the first time we were meeting since the brief communication we had in the infirmary, right after she regained consciousness. The assistant manager's complexion was slightly pale, but her face otherwise looked fine. The snow-white mountain apple had apparently done its job to some extent. Not bad for someone who came back from the brink of death, right? That item was great, thanks. Thanks to that item, assistant manager Yoon Hage had appeared to be a corpse. Luckily, the unique condition of her missing hand rather than her neck led to her being preserved in isolation. Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun reported her survival and had her moved to the infirmary at sunrise the next day. Now, she had been transferred to a hospital with some sort of partnership with the company, and the urgent treatments had just been completed. Oh, by the way, I just said the apple was something I had on me. People usually prefer to keep their sources a secret. Thank you. Gratitude. If anything, I should be the one thanking you and Minseong. Assistant manager Yoon Hae started to raise her left hand as if to wave it and dismiss the notion, but then froze. Because it wasn't there. Then her bandaged left arm ended abruptly at the wrist. With such a loss, company-issued supply potions wouldn't be able to regenerate it. Assistant manager. I voiced what I'd been considering. I have that C-grade regeneration potion with me. You're not about to offer it to me, are you? I was planning to sell it for money. Huh? Yoon Hage clicked her tongue. Listen up, Ro. Items that are only tradable for points. You can't just buy those outside, no matter how much money you have. And using that potion just because I lost a hand, that's wasteful. It's the kind of thing you save for when half your body's gone. But still, it's fine, I'll handle my hand. You keep it for emergencies. Her gaze grew faintly shadowed. If you keep going into the darkness, you'll face situations far worse than losing a hand. Trust me. A chill ran down my spine. Actually, I've got something for you. With the grace of someone who'd been using just one hand for years, Yoon Hage reached into the bedside drawer and pulled out a luxurious gold-embossed box painted with an oil painting design. The Daydream Potion. W8. That's the kind of box Daydream Inc. uses for their premium potions. And it looked even fancier than the box my C-grade regeneration potion came in. Assistant manager, what exactly are you? See this? There's only one left. She opened the box with an exuberant gesture. Inside, the molded silk lining held spaces for 2 round glass vials, but one was already empty. Yoon Hage took the remaining vial and casually tossed it to me. Take it. Oh my God. I lunged forward, catching the vial before it could fall. Inside, a liquid shimmered like flowing silk, blending hues of deep purple and silver. Daydream Potion. Venom. Western Diamondback Rattlesnake, outstanding. Venom. Assistant Manager, you bought this with points. Yup. Yoon-Hage grinned, showing her teeth. Handle it carefully. That's a 170,000-point death note. You can kill someone remotely without leaving a trace. Wait a minute. With trembling hands, I read the description on the vial. Western Diamondback Rattlesnake Venom assists with silent and ruthless revenge. Through a simple ritual, breathe the target's name into the vial. That very night, a horrific death shall find them. In short, it's perfect for getting rid of someone you want dead without any fuss. Before they die, they'll experience excruciating, searing pain and horrific mental torment, enough to curse the world itself, before falling into a coma. Over the next 4 hours, they'll endure what feels like 4 years of agony. You're giving me a murder weapon. Assistant Manager Yoon-Hage further grumbled about how the venom always came in sets of 2 vials because of the damn concept. So she had to work twice as hard and twice as long just to get it. But eventually, she smiked mischievously at me. Use it if someone you want to kill shows up. Because I had someone like that. I glanced at the empty slot in the box, feeling a lump in my throat. Did she already use the first one? Curious about who I used it on. My mind instantly flashed to the revelation from the word that best represents teacher Yoon-Hage is betrayer. If it's a personal matter and you're uncomfortable, you don't have to tell me. Uncomfortable, please. I've been dying to talk about it. If that's the case, by all means. Assistant Manager Yoon-Hage leaned back against the bed with her arms crossed. To cut to the chase, yes, I got into trouble as a journalist and ended up switching careers. There was this second-generation politician who dabbled in everything from drugs to human trafficking. I was chasing an exclusive scoop on him, but I ruined myself in the process. Her tone was casual as usual, but the content was anything but. It was the kind of story that felt polished through years of introspection and regret. Her article was killed at the desk, and the very next day, immense pressure came down on her entire team. She was stalked. Her family received threatening calls. The team decided to drop the whole thing and pretend it never happened, but I couldn't let it go and tried to blow the whistle through a foreign media outlet. Sure, that could be considered betrayal, but a small sigh escaped her lips. On the day I was supposed to leave the country, I got a call. 4 of the informants had died as if it were some sort of cruel joke. Officially, it was ruled as suicides due to despair, but they obviously weren't. Either they were killed outright or driven to the point of death. I was stupid to think that just publishing the story would fix everything. It wasn't stupidity. It was stupid no matter how you look at it, anyway. Yoon-Hage quit being a journalist. She said she simply couldn't do it anymore. But I still needed a job. I had a family to support at home. Fortunately, she found a company that fit. A place where the age range for new hires was relatively broad, where experience in diverse fields was valued for sales positions, and since it was in a different industry, she wasn't on any blacklists. A pharmaceutical company called Daydream Inc. And at this company, she encountered something extraordinary. A wish ticket. At first, I thought about bringing the dead back to life, but that felt like an insult to them. Yoon-Hage adjusted her arms, crossing them more comfortably. Trying to bring them back just because I felt guilty would have been self-serving. Respecting the dead as they are, that's the right thing to do. Plenty of people in this company wouldn't agree, but that's my stance. Anyway. Her story ended with a faint smile. So last night I got my revenge, and that's the end of it. Then, if you hear about a second-generation politician dying a horrible death in the news, just know that I was the one responsible. Yoon Hage stretched her arms high with a relieved sigh. Ah, fuck. I'm finally done with this cursed darkness exploration. Are you quitting? You never know in life. Despite her bold declaration, her face was slightly stiff. Even though she mentioned it casually to avoid burdening me, it was clear that she felt conflicted about leaving Supervisor Park Min-seong behind. Either way, I'll be taking a break for a while, but I guess that means I won't be working in the D Squad anymore. Then, she gave a slightly bitter smile. I made such a fuss about you staying in our squad, and it ended up happening after all. Yes, I realized it reflexively. From now on, I wouldn't see Assistant Manager Yoon Hage sitting at the desk next to mine anymore. Then, Ro, then, is it hard on you? Yeah, if it weren't, you'd have to be some kind of psychopath. You've been so capable that it's just hitting you a bit later than usual, but everyone goes through this at some point. Yoon Hage smiled and lightly thumped her chest. Not being able to see the squad mate who used to sit next to you the very next day. Then, but you should give yourself some credit for this. It's the best case scenario. You're not seeing us anymore for a good reason, thanks to your own abilities. Supervisor Park Min-seong, that's a debt I'll keep on my own tab. Yoon Hage cut me off firmly. You rescued him too, be proud of that. He's strong in his own way. He'll recover, focus on yourself for now. She glanced at me and smiled. Even the squad leader seems worried about you. The lizard worried. Ro, hasn't the squad leader been barely showing up at the office lately? He hadn't. Usually, when half a squad gets wiped out, the norm isn't taking a break. It's stepping in to support another squad. But he made sure to keep you out of that. Whether it's by pulling strings or stepping in himself. Goodness. Trustworthy, huh? He's been like that since I joined. Not exactly flexible, but dependable. Yoon Hage placed her intact hand on my shoulder. It's not easy finding people you can rely on in this company. That's part of your good fortune. Work well with the squad leader moving forward. Then she grinned and extended her hand. Whoever ends up taking my spot, with squad leader Lee Jae-hyun and Kim Solium, I'm sure the D Squad will be fine. She firmly shook my hand with her uninjured right one. Earn plenty of points safely, Ro. And she added with a smile. I hope your wish comes true. Yes. That was my last handshake with Assistant Manager Yoon Hage from the D Squad. When I returned to work after my short leave, I saw that all of Assistant Manager Yoon Hage's belongings had been cleared from her desk in the D Squad's office. Supervisor Park Min-seong's desk had been left alone, but who knew how long that would last? Then, I quietly went to my desk and sat down. Just like that. I was the last remaining member of the D Squad here, morning. I sat quietly in the office. Ah, what a refreshing winter morning. How about a cup of coffee, friend? Sure, let's have some at lunchtime. While tidying up my desk and chatting with Braun to chase away the silence, around 8:50 a.m., my lizard-headed superior entered through the door. I approached and greeted him politely. Good morning, squad leader. It's a pleasure to see you. Yes. I lifted my head and continued. I heard you helped arrange my paid leave. Thank you. Yes. The lizard moved only his eyes to look at me. Can you perform your duties as you did 2 weeks ago? Yes, I can work as before. Even if my initial results are lacking, I'll regain my rhythm as quickly as possible. I see. His vertical pupils scrutinized me intently. I'll be the judge of that and provide any necessary support. By now, I've become fluent in interpreting his words. Whether you excel or stumble, I'll back you up. Just keep working hard like you always do. Honestly, even if he looked and talked like a lizard, he's a good boss. So who cares? Still, that didn't mean I can let my guard down. I have to clear the darknesses perfectly for a while. I'd already been granted paid leave. If someone known for their swift, efficient work like me, the kind of employee who hit supervisor rank in just 60 days, came back from a break and couldn't deliver results, that would become a hot topic around the company. It wouldn't look good. Wait, nobody even died. Everyone survived, didn't they? Employee Kim Solium seems oddly fragile emotionally. But how could someone with such a weak mentality have achieved so much before? That kind of talk. It's no good if suspicion starts swirling. I couldn't give them any reason to doubt me. I need to clear everything cleanly. Though I hadn't been able to purchase any reliable new items. I recalled the message on the Alien Shop's website that had been up during my entire vacation. Redecorating temporary closed. I understand. All right. The website was under maintenance. I wonder when it'll reopen. I haven't seen any documents related to the site's redecorating, so it should reopen soon. Once the Alien Shop is back, I'll check out the new stock and secure some items within my budget. For now, I'll focus on clearing darknesses properly, getting back to basics. They won't send me into high-grade darkness again for a while, I think. The strange emptiness left by reduced squad members was unavoidable, but quitting isn't an option, so I'll manage somehow. I asked a bit more cheerfully on purpose. Do you think I'll be deployed to a darkness today? I heard there's a high chance we'll be sent to support another squad since we're down to 3 members. That's correct. Oh, which squad will we be supporting today? If I'm lucky, I might run into one of my yet unmet peers. An elite unit. Huh? Again. Do you mean the A squad? No. Then which team? The C squad. I knew no one at all from that squad. The fact that it was an elite unit made me wary, but at least I wouldn't have to see both the A squad's leader and squad leader Lee Jahian in one place. Wait. Now that I think about it, I wasn't entirely unfamiliar with the C squad. K. Lee. This is Assistant Manager Lee Kanghian from the C squad, haha. The suspicious assistant manager who introduced me to Salmon Market. He did say he was from the C squad. Maybe this time I'll finally see him in person. But a more pressing question came first. If it's an elite unit's mission, could it be a high-difficulty darkness that's hard to clear? What criteria are you using to make that judgment? I apologize, that was thoughtless. Could you tell me its letter class and whether a manual exists for it? It's D-class. The manual is fully prepared. Oh, then there's little chance of seeing some crazy stunt where they use the round-off team as human meat shields. Feeling relieved, I asked calmly. Understood. When should we depart? We'll move out in 5 minutes. Yes, sir. We grabbed our gear and left the office, walking toward our destination. But the squad leader. Yes. Why are we heading toward the annex instead of the C squad's office? Because the C squad has already entered the darkness. After a few more exchanges with Chief Lizard, here's what I gathered. C squad's leader is on leave, leaving only 2 members in the unit. Today's mission involves a D-class ghost story. Instead of adhering to the standard 3-member team, the C squad decided to fudge the numbers and dive in on their own, prompting the admin office to hurriedly assign additional personnel. Wow. Back when I first joined, Assistant Manager Yoon Hage had blown up in rage, swearing over how they counted a newbie as part of the three-person minimum. And here we are with people willingly entering as just two. Ominous. A member who doesn't follow orders. A truly skilled host knows how to handle all elements of a show, especially human resources. Could today be your chance to learn that, Mr. Roe Deer? Let's find out. Let's charge forward, shall we, friend? I want to sink to the ground in despair. But I need points, and it's true that I need to start diving into the darkness again. None of the elite units I've encountered so far have been normal. And I have a strong feeling this will be no different. Still, as a half-year rookie supervisor, I have no choice but to follow orders. If I didn't want this, I should have joined the A squad, though if I had, I'd probably already be in the round-off team as a corpse. Am I already feeling nostalgic? I forced myself to avoid thinking about my two superiors from the D squad as I moved forward. Squad leader Lee Jahian handed me a tablet. Spend the next 10 minutes reviewing the manual. Is there a reason I only get 10 minutes? Because time is tight before the entry closes, and the survival rate for the past 2 quarters has been 97%. Thank you for the reassuring explanation. So we've reached the point where a 3% fatality rate is considered acceptable. Honestly, in a scenario like this, the 3% who die even with a manual likely made terrible decisions or were extraordinarily unlucky. It'll be fine. With a mix of unease and resignation, I looked down at the tablet. Mr. Roe Deer, it looks like your mind just went blank. Yup. Because I'm screwed. == Dark Exploration Record / Ghost Story. Ignorance is Bliss. A ghost story featured in Daydream Inc. Identification Code Q-Turwadi 2367. A textbook horror story where you must survive a full night among ghosts, an utterly nerve-wracking classic. == Wait just a second, squad leader. Instead of going on a mental breakdown and refusing to go in, I managed to make a rational suggestion. Sorry, could we possibly prepare for just 30 more minutes before entry, sir? That is not possible. Right, they said the entry closes. Not exactly a rational suggestion on my part. Seriously. Why does it have to be this one for my return mission? There have been no fatalities aside from 2 cases of heart attacks. It's safe compared to other darknesses of the same letter grade. Understood. It's not that I didn't know that. I had simply been deluding myself. Drunk on the image of myself as the elite rookie, I'd forgotten something. Even before my paid leave, I was someone who silently wept in fear while speedrunning through horror scenarios. And now my comeback mission is the kind of classic horror I'm weakest against, a true nightmare. New squad mates, half of them from an elite unit, meaning no room for nonsense. On top of that, the low darkness grade made it wasteful to use the tattoo stickers here, so I'd have to endure it with sheer grit. This wasn't the kind of situation where survival instincts would kick in, as you frantically search for a way out. No, I'd have to experience everything raw. Exactly as the wiki entry intended for the horror to be felt. At least when I played tag with the convenience store ghost, I stumbled in without realizing it. Now it felt like I was being dunked in cold water, jolted back to reality. Call it shock therapy, maybe. With a sinking feeling, I trudged into the darkness, like a condemned soul walking to the slaughterhouse. My legs wobbled. This way. At least the entry wasn't one of those warped spaces that swallow us into bizarre, twisted worlds. This time, the entry process was very straightforward. Knock on the door of a sealed space that meets specific conditions, then enter. That space becomes the ghost story. The space must be sealed, with no one within 100 meters. All four walls and the ceiling must be enclosed with no windows or elements revealing the outside. It must contain an analog clock. The space must be approximately 40 cubic meters. A deviation of more than 4 cubic meters will prevent the darkness from manifesting. Our company had built a dedicated separate space that met these conditions and used it for this purpose. Specifically, a room measuring 4m x 4m x 2, 4m. Break room. Squad leader Lee Jahian and I stopped in front of a door bearing that plaque. The break room was attached to a regular office, but all the conditions were satisfied. It was a Wednesday with a date ending in 4. Knocking on the door in a specific rhythm would trigger the ghost story. I'm the one who has to knock, right? Seniority after all. Knock, 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 knock. Trying not to let my trembling hands show, I knocked on the door. And as if on cue, the door clicked open. Who are these P.O.? Inside, 2 employees were sitting comfortably. Upon seeing us, they waved their hands. Oh, you're the reinforcements. Yes. Wow, we really didn't need anyone, but they insisted on sending you. They muttered amongst themselves about how increasing the number of clearers would diminish points and reduce the concentration of dream essence. Then Chief Lizard responded curtly. If you have complaints, submit a department transfer request and revise the exploration manual yourself. The 2 employees' mouths were wide open, then eventually nodded awkwardly, their faces turning sheepish. No, we weren't criticizing you specifically. Sorry about that. Ha, we must have sounded rude. Really sorry. You're, from the D Squad, right, sir? Yes. Then this person is Supervisor Roe Deer. Oh. Both their expressions changed again. You're the new hire who almost joined the A Squad. I heard Assistant Manager Butterfly had her eye on you. And there's a story about you saving someone who was supposed to die. Wow, please tell us all about it when this is over. It's not much of a story, just some good luck, but sure, it's nice to meet you. Ushered by them, Chief Lizard and I sat at a small table in the corner of the break room. We'll be spending the night together, so let's introduce ourselves. That's Supervisor Dolphin over there. Pleasure to meet you, Supervisor Roe Deer. A petite woman wearing a dolphin mask waved energetically when called. Her tone was bright and bubbly. Then a tanned man with a sociable demeanor extended his hand with a smile. And I'm Leopard, Assistant Manager Leopard. Understood, Assistant Manager Leopard. K. Lee. Oh, hello, Mr. Employee Lalo. The profile picture of Lee Kanghian on the work chat had been set to a Hawaiian beach, and the tanned skin seemed to fit perfectly. The matching rank and outgoing personality further aligned. It's probably this person. Still, I kept the possibility open. I didn't know his real name for sure yet, and I wasn't about to show any familiarity in front of a superior. Looking forward to working together, sir. Same here. Let's get through the night snacking and chatting in this cozy break room. For now, it felt like we were gearing up for an office all-nighter. And indeed, nothing outlandish happened. The walls didn't suddenly bleed, the ceiling didn't flip, and the coffee machine didn't turn into a murder bot. But the ghost, it's already here. One or more explorers would have already been replaced by a ghost. That's right. One of us wasn't human anymore. Would you like some coffee? Oh, I'll get it. No need. Our squad doesn't do the newbie fetches coffee thing. Just sit back. You never know exactly when it happens. Perhaps as soon as you cross the threshold, or maybe during introductions. It's easier if you're the one replaced by a ghost. In that case, you just black out after entering and wake up the next day. The real problem is the manual for those who aren't replaced. The rule I had to follow. Ghosts mimic the appearance, personality, and behavior of explorers, but exhibit subtle, unnatural actions, which no human would do, that cause unease. However, you must never show that you've noticed who the ghost is. Every explorer who blatantly revealed their suspicion disappeared without a trace. I can do this. I just have to ignore the weirdness and brush it off. I can do this. If someone starts grinning with their mouth unnaturally wide or something, I'll just look away and endure it. If it happens, I'll just very naturally act like I'm looking at someone else. With multiple people in the room, I felt like I could manage. Maybe I wasn't as much of a coward as I thought. Despite everything I'd gone through, I was surprisingly composed, not breaking into a cold sweat at the mere thought of what was to come. Ah, the entrance just fully closed. This is the group we'll be working with. Oh, Tilda. Great, let's give it our all. Clap, 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 clap. All the employees clapped cheerfully, creating a warm, friendly atmosphere. Except for one thing. Wow! Everyone in the room was clapping, with the backs of their hands. Mr. Roe dear, why aren't you clapping? Why aren't you, Assistant manager, Leopard leaned in close to my face. Is something bothering you? Who could have imagined something like this? Being trapped in an enclosed space with 3 ghosts imitating humans, all while sitting in a cold sweat, pretending to act normal. And worse. However, you must never show that you've noticed. I can't let it show. Even if every person in front of me, no, every ghost, was clapping cheerfully with the backs of their hands. Clap, 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 clap. Don't be obvious. Then one suddenly turned to me and asked, "Why aren't you clapping?" Oh fucking hell. I barely kept myself from trembling as I raised my hands. And then, clap, clap, clap. I placed one hand politely over the other and produced a quiet sound. I glanced around as if embarrassed, offering a slightly awkward smile like a rookie trying to gauge the situation. I missed the timing to clap and got flustered. It's a bit embarrassing. Please, please let this slide. Tilda, no worries at all. Hey, Leopard Sunbee, don't pressure the competent newbie. Sit back down. Agu, all right. The Leopard employee, or rather, the thing pretending to be Leopard, shrugged and sat down as instructed. Who? But my relief was short-lived. Thud, 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 thud. Suddenly, the dolphin employee dropped her head to the floor and started banging it sideways. Expressionlessly. There's a bug I can't catch. Thud, 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 thud. I heard no other creatures can enter this darkness. Perhaps you were mistaken. The dolphin employee stopped banging her head. Her disheveled hair was now a mess, and her skull was crushed. That makes sense. Thank you, Supervisor Roe dear. Not at all. And then, as if nothing had happened, she resumed chatting naturally with Assistant Manager Leopard. If I pass out here, would I disappear? I'm going crazy. Why did everyone but me get replaced? If only I could have blacked out and been replaced too, waking up tomorrow morning oblivious. Supervisor Roe dear, have some food. Thank you very much, squad leader. The lizard mask-wearing ghost. No, don't think like that. Squad leader lizard handed me some food. It was kimbap from a rather tasty snack shop near the office. I need to eat to survive the nearly 24 hours until tomorrow morning. It was a rational decision. If only I didn't feel like I'd throw up or get indigestion the moment I put anything in my mouth. Urgh. Oh, how about sharing? We brought some sandwiches too. The 2 employees from the C Squad took out their sandwiches. I reflexively responded out of social courtesy. I should have brought something, but I was unprepared. I'm truly sorry and grateful. I.e. Macney, come on. No need to worry about stuff like that. Even this squad leader here doesn't seem to care about formalities, right? Yes. With the lizard's short reply, Assistant Manager Leopard gave a thumbs up with a grin. Our C-Squad's leader is like that too. Hey, you know Squad Leader Teal Duck from the A-Squad, right? Our squad leader is on a whole different level. Eck. Sounds like someone worth respecting. Right? The squad leader even used that wish ticket to take a vacation. I hope it doesn't lead to retirement, though. I avoided commenting on the subtle criticism against A-Squad's leader and turned the conversation with gentle praise instead. Not that it matters since they're ghosts, but yeah, I'll keep this up. Forget it, forget it. Honestly, it felt less like a ghost story and more like awkward small talk during a team-building retreat with senior employees from related departments. Of course, it didn't last long. Right after the meal, Assistant Manager Leopard yawned and stood up. We'll be here all night. Mind if I take off my shoes for a bit? Awa, you should have brought slippers like me. What can I do if I didn't? My socks are clean anyway. Assistant Manager Leopard chatted nonchalantly with Supervisor Dolphin while starting to take off his shoes. Sure, I won't even be surprised if he suddenly starts tap dancing on the table. Instead of feet, there were hands. Crammed and forced into the shoes, the hands unfolded and pressed onto the floor as they emerged. Then, since I'm already up, I'll grab more coffee. Everyone wants a refill, right? Thub. Suddenly, Assistant Manager Leopard stood on his hands. The hands attached to his feet swung up and waved. Thub thub. A company employee walking on his hands. Supervisor Roe Deer. I swallowed a scream. Yes, Assistant Manager Leopard. Can you help me carry the coffee? It's hard to see straight for some reason. Thump 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 thump. His inverted body kept bumping into the counter where the coffee was placed. Not trying to boss you around just because you're the junior, it's just you're seated closer. Sorry if it feels like I'm pressuring you. As they should. Of course, I'd be happy to help, sir. I stood up immediately and moved toward Assistant Manager Leopard. Now that I think about it, sitting next to a ghost with a crushed skull might be worse than assisting the upside-down ghost. Right. Right. Fascinating. Could this be a deliberate uncanny valley effect? An entertaining performance, Mr. Roe Deer. Let's enjoy it to the fullest. Enjoy it. To the fullest. Just keeping my eyes open deserves a self-pat on the back right now. Enjoyment is way too high a bar. Now then, let's move these. Yes, sir. I handed cups of coffee to the hands attached to his feet, holding 2 cups myself, and placed them on the table. I was proud of not spilling or trembling, despite the sheer absurdity of it all. The real problem, though, was that with coffee refilled, the mood shifted into casual conversation. Now then, Supervisor Dolphin, smiling brightly despite her caved-in skull, suggested, how about we go around and share stories of the darknesses we've cleared? Let's be honest, it's hard to stick with this job without finding some fun in it. Assistant Manager Leopard waved it off. What if the ghosts overhear us and do something crazy? Let's just talk about our favorite foods or something. That's good too. Then he wasn't wrong. Discussing the ghost switching itself would not cause anomalies. However, it greatly increased the risk of someone noticing who the ghost was, which was highly discouraged. But they're all ghosts. I like things crispy on the outside, moist on the inside, like fried eggplant, you know. Oh really, I like food that pops when you bite into it, like eyeballs. F-wick. Dolphin leaned right into my face. Supervisor Roe dear, you've got eyeballs, don't you? I can see them. You brought them under the mask, right, to share. Let's share. Ack. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the video and comment down if anything wrong in the story, and if have any suggestion to a new novel or want next part of any series, comment down. Our target is to get 1K subscriber. There will be SUPRISC for all of you. Stay tuned.